Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Let's Object in Runescape, and as my court summons states here, this time I've got the Drunken Dwarf versus the people. Now, because I love the Drunken Dwarf, and I also love playing Phoenix Wright, I am going to be defending him as usual. Would you like to defend or prosecute? You choose to defend, of course. Look on the filing cabinet by my desk for more details in your case. When you feel prepared, use the stairs to enter the courtroom. Hopefully we'll actually have to examine some witnesses. So, I'm just going to search this little filing cabinet and find some information relevant to my case. Yay, we finally have 3 case reports again. Alright, so, case report 1. And we have the culprit. I don't even know what the crime is yet. Okay, let's see. The culprit, I'll bet it's just going to be the Drunken Dwarf, because that way the prosecution has a case. And, as expected, it's the Drunken Dwarf. So, something about kebabs, apparently. Confirm match. Of course I'm loyal. It's because my private chat is off. Okay, so now that's one case report. And suspect, Drunken Dwarf. Case background. A man named Baltros reported to local authorities that he had been attacked by a drunken dwarf while woodcutting in Sears Village. Baltros reported that the said dwarf threw rocks at him and refused to leave him alone until they had a conversation. The drunken dwarf was tracked down to Al-Kharid where he was buying a kebab. The kebab seller made a statement that the dwarf was a great customer and never had given him any trouble. In fact, the dwarf often gave kebabs to those in need. On arrest, the following items were found on the dwarf's person: 1 empty beer glass, 1 kebab, and a rock was found at the scene of the alleged crime. A fingerprint was extracted from it. There's no need to interview witnesses in preparation for this case. Are you kidding me? We didn't have to even interview the kebab seller? How many things do they not have for anyway? Okay, so Carl, and yeah, we got... Right now, we have Carl in our clan chat right now. And so... Okay, suspect, Drunken Dwarf. Background. The Drunken Dwarf hails from the city of Keldgrim, but appears to travel the world spreading good cheer. His favorite drink is beer, and his favorite food is a kebab. Victim, Baltros. Background. Baltros keeps to himself and does not like talking to others. He generally trains woodcutting in Lumbridge or Sears Village. Occasionally he likes to throw caution to the wind and train fishing instead. Witness, kebab seller. Background. The kebab seller works in Al-Kharid and runs a prosperous business selling kebabs. One of his best customers is the Drunken Dwarf. There's no need to interview witnesses in preparation for this case, even though we have a witness named the kebab seller. Well, looks like that's our case for us. We've got the fact that apparently the dwarf threw rocks at a kebab seller. Let's talk to the Drunken Dwarf. Hello, Mike. I didn't do nothing. Okay, so now I believe that's all I can really do for court. So I might as well just get myself started. All right, let's go. Are you sure you're ready for court? Yes, I am. Hopefully I've got the sound playing, because now I can't adjust it. Okay, we look at the courtroom once again. This court is now in session. By the way, if there's no sound and if there's no music, I'm sorry about that. This trial is to determine the guilt or innocence of the Drunken Dwarf for indecent behavior and public drunkenness. Unfortunately, it's pretty hard to prove him innocent of public drunkenness. Is the prosecution ready? The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Is the defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. The prosecution may present its case. Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the jury, I am going to present evidence that decisively proves the Drunken Dwarf behaved indecently in an inebriated state, and that he attacked an innocent citizen. First, I present the beer glass. The suspect was arrested with this empty beer glass. It was empty because he had drunk it, and had drunk many more that day. He was so drunk that he couldn't even walk straight. That makes him a danger to himself and others. The prosecution presents the beer glass as evidence. Second, the kebab. The suspect was arrested while buying this item. It's not something that someone sober would choose to munch on. Excuse me, I like kebabs normally. Last but certainly not least, the fingerprint found on the rock thrown at the victim. This is clearly the fingerprint of the Drunken Dwarf. Members of the jury, this dwarf is guilty. The prosecution calls the victim. Would you tell us about the attack? The dwarf told him I kept shouting. I had chat turned off, so ignored him. Wow, he sounds like a player almost. Oh wait, he looks exactly like a bot. That's awesome. Okay, did you notice the dwarf was drunk at the time? He's called the Drunken Dwarf. Ravel, dude was totally wasted. Okay, I wish... You know what? I'm going to start speaking in a complete monotone because this guy's apparently meant to look a lot like a bot, especially with the name Botros. Okay. Dude was totally wasted. The prosecution calls the kebab seller. How well do you know the Drunken Dwarf? I've known him for years. He's my best customer and he's always completely wasted, but he's very polite when buying his kebab. Sometimes I get to chat with him. I think he likes the company. His home life can't be a happy one. But do you see him interact with anyone away from your stand? No, as a small businessman I spend almost all my time on my stand. I have heard from some customers that he gets rowdy and often gets thrown out of pubs. That paints an interesting picture. It sounds like he's a troubled dwarf who can't control what he does. By Jove, that's right. I think that'll be enough. It's time for you to summarize your case to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have presented evidence that conclusively proves the defendant acted violently while drunk with an intent to hurt. Is it too much to ask that a normal, sober human being can walk the paths of Runescape without being pelted with rocks? While we turn a blind eye to violent drunks like the defendant, we accept that things cannot improve and that such actions are inevitable. This does not have to be the case. I ask you to find the defendant guilty, to send a statement to all drunks across Runescape. Oh wow, maybe I should... I wonder if I can try to exit, because I realized I was going to try to do this before I started the video. I just realized I want to get the Ring of Charos on. So I'll see if I can exit by the gate somehow. Maybe I'll get a warning or something. I'll just exit the gate. If I can do that, will that just be a recess, or do I instantly lose the case? Well, let's hope it's not instantly losing the case, because I would not want to instantly lose the case. I am going to get my Ring of Charos, and hopefully I will not suddenly lose the case for not being in court. Yeah, so, well, yeah, I wish I had remembered the damn Ring of Charos in the first place. Okay, let's see. Oh, whoops, that's spelled wrong. Oh, right, Ring of Charos A. That's definitely got to be the only possible thing that would give me extra little advantage of sorts. Okay, let's head down the stairs and see if I can get back into court and not be, like, somehow penalized. I probably will be, though, and that would suck, because I really like the Drunken Dwarf. Yes, 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 enter the courtroom, and Kirby's late, and blah, blah, blah. And if I have to go through the prosecution text again, then I will just, no one touch me. Blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah, blah. 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 Blah, blah. And more evidence that we've already seen. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 lead speak, blah. Okay. Prosecution calls the kebab seller, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Man, I really wish I thought, like, I think that if you're in King's Ransom, if you leave early, it'll go back right to where you had first left it. Well, okay, so it seems that he summarizes his case, and blah 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 blah. All right, so what can I do for you? Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to present evidence. I'll present, the fingerprint doesn't seem to be good because there's no reason why anyone would randomly pick up a rock. Let's talk about the kebab, because definitely kebab's a weak point. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if I could draw your attention to prosecution evidence number 3, a kebab. I think it's hard to say. Like, definitely the dwarf was eating the kebab when arrested is definitely not the right thing. The kebab was purchased by the dwarf is pretty pointless, but the likes to hand out kebabs sounds good. The Drunken Dwarf is known for giving kebabs away to those in need. He's clearly a giving person who likes to help others. A slightly saucered Robin Hood, if you will. Oh, right, that sounds good to me. That helped. Well, I think I'll probably have to draw attention to all the pieces of evidence, so let's go with the beer glass. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could draw your attention to prosecution evidence number 2, an empty beer glass. It's made of glass and it smells of beer. That's definitely not good. Glass like this are commonly found in pubs. Wow, I've got a feeling this is going to be kind of a problem. It was found on the dwarf at the time of arrest. But does that... what? It's definitely not the first option. It's either the second or the third, but I've got a feeling I'll kill my case if I do either of these. Let's go with commonly found in pubs.
Glasses like these are commonly found in pubs, which means our client recently patronized the pub and kept the glass for reasons that are unimportant. It is not whether he was drunk at the time or that he was even at the scene of the crime. It is an empty beer glass, pure and simple.
Huh, well, that seemed to help. And and the fingerprint. Do I want to draw attention to this? Maybe I do, maybe I don't, but you'll have to wait until my next video. So, I guess I will just have... Well, I'll see you guys once I finish doing what I like to call video swapping. So, see you in my next video for part 2 of the Drunken Dwarf versus the People.